Misty Maris, who we have on as well, I think she said that the jury has watched like 40 hours of videos right now of this.
40 hours?
Oh, hell no!
40 hours? You already know what it is. It's your boy Laid Back with another reaction, another review, another episode. Hey, Diddy, you up to bat. Pause. Bow. It's your boy Laid Back. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, two things we got to do. You got to hit that subscribe button. I'm drinking this water. You already know what it is, man. You are the prize in 2025. You are the prize in 2025. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Stay up to date with all the videos. Make sure you hit the like button. But we back with another Diddy update, man. We got P. Diddy defense makes Bombshell move in Trafficking trial. You make it to the end of this one, you a real one for real, man. We getting close to wrapping it up on this trial, so we getting real close. So we gonna see what's happening. But let's go ahead and get into it. Fire Squad, what's popping? Let's get it.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So we have with us Elizabeth Milner, Law and Crime's in-court reporter, as we are on this break in the Sean Diddy Combs criminal trial. Elizabeth, this is the moment all of our viewers wait. They can't wait to talk to you. You get such love on social media, such love from the YouTubers. They want to hear so much about what's been going on. I'll give you an example, how much love you get. We got a question from Gene Sluter. As a lawyer, Jesse, can Jesse please install Elizabeth Milner as the President of the United States? I do not have that power. I don't think you have to be an expert to know I don't have that power, but clearly you have the love. Okay, let's get into more substantive questions. This is from Shady Goat. How is Diddy in court today? And were there any suspect looks that he might have given towards the jurors? Because he can't be trusted.
Well, definitely as far as Diddy's demeanor goes today, he was doing kind of what he's usually been doing, jotting notes down, talking to his attorneys, all of that stuff. There are a couple moments, especially when the sexually explicit videos were played specifically to the jury. Obviously, we weren't able to see those. They were under seal. And so I was seeing him kind of peek over at their direction because they played those explicit videos for a long amount of time. I think longer than whenever the summary witness was talking about the Cassie summary exhibits was playing for that amount of time. But for these specific videos, I did see him kind of peeking over here and there, especially because of the duration and how long they were playing. Plus, it was super quiet inside that courtroom when they were playing those videos. Literally, you could hear a pen drop. It was just that quiet. But again, these were only shown to the jury. But as far as what I could see of Diddy's demeanor today, still the same old. It doesn't seem that he feels maybe nervous or anxious. But again, we're never inside his mind, so we don't know 100% for sure what he's thinking at all times.
We got a old Hollywood angel says, can you tell Elizabeth we call her Queen Elizabeth? So again, you're getting a ton of praise from all of our fans. Elizabeth, I got a question for you. I'm reading the transcripts of these voice messages from Sean Combs, whether it's to Jane, whether it's to associates. How impactful are these voice messages? It seems to me, if the government is trying to say he played a central role in setting up these wild king nights and transporting people and paying for their services, to have him on these voice notes feels like a mic drop in a moment, no?
It was a little bit kind of, I think the government was doing what they could do with these voice messages. It wasn't necessarily like a mic drop moment, but it also could be depending on how you look at it. So when you're hearing Diddy on these audio messages asking for $5,000, $10,000, making sure that Jane has $15,000, it's a lot of money that's just being casually talked about during these audio messages. And even when you kind of hear his demeanor on these audio notes, because, you know, obviously we who have been covering this case, we know what Diddy sounds like. We know his voice. We hear him inside the courtroom sometimes when the jury is not present. However, for most jurors, I would expect that most of them don't really recognize his voice, and maybe I would expect that maybe they don't match it to the person sometimes, especially because as you're hearing it, he's asking for large sums of money. He's asking for medication. He's asking to make sure that he has as much baby oil as he can, because he was like, why am I out here searching for baby oil? Just make sure I have this baby oil.
Hold on. Diddy was out searching for the baby oil because he needed more? Yo, this is crazy. This baby oil is something that's been a theme since the beginning. He like, look, man, I ain't about to be out here searching for this. Why we ain't got the baby oil on deck?
large sums of money. He's asking for medication. He's asking to make sure that he has as much baby oil as he can, because he was like, why am I out here searching for baby oil? Just make sure I have this baby oil here. I shouldn't be doing this. But he was saying it in kind of a joking manner too, that you really can't tell if he was being kind of serious or if he was being playful and joking. You never just know what they're thinking. But as far as just what the government was doing by playing these particular voice messages, of course, you're hearing about the money being exchanged. You're hearing about, or I shouldn't say exchanged, but about the money being obtained or given to Diddy in some form or fashion. You hear about him asking Christina Quorum, for example, to make sure that the assistant set up the rooms before he gets there. Or you're hearing in just different messages, just things that he would say to Christina Quorum about, get me this, get me that, I need this, please and thank you, here and there. So it could be a bombshell moment depending on how you look at it, but it's interesting just kind of hearing these all play out. Now, there were a good portion of the audio messages that we didn't hear. I think there were some technical issues. Some of the audio messages weren't necessarily redacted, so we didn't hear everything in its full capacity. Right. But as far as what we did hear, I think it did kind of have a sticking point possibly for the jury.
You have to explain to us what's going on after the prosecution rests. So we get this question from Lisa5472. Elizabeth, has the defense given any clues on what they're doing after the prosecution rests? Because are they planning to call witnesses or no? Are they just planning to play some exhibits? What's going on? I think we learned a little bit more about this at the beginning of the day, right?
Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of confusion on whether or not the defense just plans on admitting a bunch of stuff into evidence, or are they going to be calling a witness to kind of explain a lot of things. You know, initially the defense was like, okay, we're going to call Vashta Dunlap, we're going to call Dr. Bardet, we're going to call another witness to testify, but it seems like there's kind of confusion on whether or not all of these people are actually going to be called, because if everyone remembers, just last week, the government said that, or excuse me, the defense said that their case in chief would be less than they were expecting. They plan, and this is still the plan, for summations or closing arguments to happen this Thursday. So it's possible that they may still call maybe one witness, maybe possibly two. But as far as maybe just a long witness that they may see for the defense's case in chief, it doesn't seem like that's necessarily happening. So we're still going under the impression that maybe a witness or two will be called. But as far as the defense's case overall, it seems like it'll be kind of wrapped up by either tomorrow or by Wednesday at the latest.
And which is why we're saying it seems unlikely at this point, highly unlikely, that Sean Combs is going to testify, because if he did take the stand, that whole schedule gets thrown out the window. Okay, got a question from Sam. For beautiful Elizabeth, what is your personal thoughts on what the outcome of this trial will be? Guilty or not guilty?
Ooh, that is a great question. I'm a little mixed, right? Like, I think the government really does have a strong case for counts 3 and 5, that being transportation to engage in prostitution. Because as much as we talk about this trial, Jesse, I think there's a lot of people who still are under the assumption that Diddy's only charged with RICO and that he's only charged with trafficking. But that's not the case. He has those other charges too, that being transportation to engage in prostitution. And it seems like from the government that they have at least that kind of going in their favor. Now, as far as trafficking with Jane, I'm still kind of a little on the fence. It's not up to me, though. It's up to the jury to make those final decisions. With trafficking with Cassie, it also still kind of, I'm on the fence a little bit about that too. And it's not my personal feelings. It's more so just the evidence that has been brought forth. And plus, I think a lot of people have to remember Cassie was at the beginning of this trial. We've had a whole bunch of other witnesses. So do people necessarily remember what all Cassie had to say at the beginning of the trial? I'm not necessarily sure. There's been so much other information that we have heard about since that maybe was able to kind of, you know, poke the holes where it was able to poke the holes in. But again, this is just me thinking RICO, I'm still also on the fence about that. So we'll kind of wait and see what the jury has to come back with as far as what their thoughts are about this. But it doesn't matter about what I think. It doesn't matter what any of us think. It's about what those jurors think whenever they go to deliberate on this case.
Again, why I think closing arguments are so pivotal in this case. The jury instructions so pivotal, trying to tie it all together, how all the elements fall into place, both for the prosecution and the defense. I think of the whole case. I think a lot of this case rests on closing arguments. I really do. Okay, we got a question from Mylan Boardman. Question for Elizabeth. How's the vibe outside of the courtroom as the trial wraps up? Aside from the fact that outside it's like 98 degrees, and I'm surprised you're not melting right now. And this is great reporting. Thank you so much for being outside. But aside from that, what is the vibe outside of the courtroom? Is anybody there, or is the heat detracted people?
Well, the heat, I feel like, possibly is attracting people in the sense it's New York City, it's summertime, the solstice was over the weekend, and people are just outside kind of camping with lawn chairs. And I think it's possible that they're using these lawn chairs to possibly sell their spots in line to whoever's willing to buy it. But that's just me. We never know. But it seems like people are kind of camping out because they expect one, closings to happen. And then, once the jury gets the case, I think everyone wants to know when the jury will give that verdict down. And so as far as the media attention goes, that hasn't stopped not one bit since this trial began. Of course, it's not body to body like it was at the beginning or the first week, but it's definitely, a row kind of also where I am. It just stretches all the way down the street of just reporters, of media, just all doing their live shots, similar to how I'm doing right now. But even outside, kind of past me right over there, you can see kind of the live streamers, the YouTubers, the podcasters kind of doing their, lunchtime wrap-up stream, kind of similar to how we're doing right now. And then there are just people who are just curious whether or not it's to see the family coming outside for the lunch break or it's to see the family. And some people think that Diddy sometimes comes out of these doors, even especially towards the end of the day. And I have to tell people, oh, no, I'm sorry. He's still incarcerated at MDC. But for the most part, the vibe hasn't changed much. It's still a lot of interest in this case, no matter if it's raining, no matter if it's cool, no matter if it's just hot and scorching hot like it is today.
Somebody asked me over the weekend, I heard Diddy's out. I heard he got released. I was like,
nah.
What's going on here? I was like, wait.
No.
But all right, not the case. All right, this is from Miss G Dove. What was the jury's emotions watching those videos? I imagine they're talking.
Bro, they had the headphones on. Can you imagine? They in there watching some explicit video with the headphones on, hearing everything in surround sound. Ain't no telling what's on those tapes. Ain't no telling. They said you could hear a pin drop. They was so focused on what they were seeing. I can't even imagine what was on them tapes, man.
About the sexually explicit videos that were shown today. Misty Maris, who we have on as well, I think she said that the jury's watched like 40 hours of videos right now of this.
40 hours?
Oh, hell no!
40 hours? 40 hours? Bruh, how much they getting paid for this jury duty, bruh?
Content, maybe. What has been their reaction watching this?
Well, from what I could see of the jury when they're watching these videos, I could see that, and let me just preface it by saying this. It's first thing in the morning. It's around 9 o'clock in the morning, and they're seeing these hotel nights of wild debauchery night, wild king night, whatever we want to call them, those types of videos just bright and early in the morning. And so from what I could see of them, they didn't have much of a reaction. I know when they were watching the Cassie explicit videos of the freak off tapes and things like of that sort, that TMZ reported that one of the jurors kind of giggled. But from what I could see of them today, watching the videos that featured Jane and Sean Combs and the other entertainers involved in their hotel nights, that I didn't see much of a reaction, but they were watching those videos for a long amount of time. I think overall AAUSA Maureen Comey said that it was about 50 videos, and maybe, it's hard to kind of guesstimate how long they were watching those videos, and they were into individual clips. They were playing for maybe 2.5 minutes, a minute and a half, or a minute, however much it was, but probably all together, they were watching those videos, and I hate to guesstimate, just in case I'm wrong, it felt like they were watching those videos for at least an hour. Now, I might be wrong, but it felt that was how long they were watching those videos.
I said hours by accident, not 40 hours, 40 minutes worth of
All right, I was finna say, bro, 40 hours is crazy, bro.
material. I think hours would be a lot. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is a great question from Alana Rodriguez, a question that's coupled with a compliment. Hey, Jesse, can you please tell Elizabeth I said I hope she's doing great, and I think she's beautiful. You're both pretty great. So,
Wow.
if closing arguments are Thursday, when will there be a verdict from the jury?
Ooh, that is a good guess. Well, let me just say this, that July 4th is next week. I'm going to guess I'm not going to say if I had to put money on it because I always lose when I say that, but I'm going to guess that possibly they'll come back on the 2nd. And then there's been discussions that they might also deliberate on the 3rd. Now, originally, if court was going to kind of continue on and we were kind of getting into that time frame, they initially weren't going to have court on July 3rd, but I think it's up to the judge's discretion on whether or not the jury will actually be able to deliberate on that day. So I'm going to guess probably July 2nd or July 3rd. Before the July 4th weekend, I think they'll come back with the verdict. But we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. We got a question here from, where is it? Okay. This is, I just had a great question. Oh, yeah. This is from Janelle Smith. Would the jury have access to these exhibits during deliberation?
Yeah, they actually will. And I think that's part of the reason why this summary chart is so important. Yes, these are repetitive messages that we have already seen. But now these messages are all kind of in this concrete way where they can go and look at, GX 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, know that exhibit accompanies this particular flight and this particular booking. They can see the text messages, the videos that accompany it. And I think that's kind of the big part of why these summary exhibits and these summary charts are so important. Now, there have been some exhibits that have been just used as a demonstrative exhibit. So that won't be something that the jury will actually be able to take back into the jury room and see all of that stuff. But as far as most of the exhibits, as far as photographs, videos, text messages, flight summaries and catalogs and all of that stuff, the jury has a lot of evidence to really kind of consider. And remember, everybody, this trial has been going on for quite a while, so they'll have a lot of things to consider in terms of just the amount of evidence they saw going all the way back to Cassie, to Officer Israel Flores, to Kid Cudi, to Mia, to Capricorn Clark, to Jane, just a whole bunch of witnesses. And that's not even including the assistants, too, that they'll be able to kind of see all of these things probably in one place, especially with the help of those summary charts from the government.
Elizabeth, I mentioned before, this is a question from Never Be, though. Jesse, it's been rumored that Diddy wants to take the stand and sideswipe the prosecutor by doing it last minute. Have you heard anything? Have you heard any rumors about it, Elizabeth?
I have not heard any rumors about it, but I think that's an interesting question because remember when those documentaries were first coming out, even prior to trial beginning, where Mark Agnifilo said something along the lines of, I can't keep my client off the witness stand whenever it is his time to kind of tell his story. He was kind of saying that at the beginning. Now that we're in trial, I don't know if it'll actually be the same. Nothing is confirmed just yet. Who knows? It could be a last minute decision because the defendant does have that right to testify if he chooses to do so. So we'll wait and see. Nothing's confirmed just yet. Who knows? I might just be running out.
Do y'all think Diddy is going to testify? Do y'all think Diddy at the end of the trial, he's going to come and try to testify? Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about that.
Out here one lunch break and be like, Diddy's about to take the stand, but that has not happened yet. And we don't know if that will necessarily happen too, but nothing is confirmed just yet.
All right, Elizabeth Milner, I don't want you spending any more time outside than you have to, so jump back inside. Thank you so much, and I'll see you later for our daily sidebar recap, where we recap everything that's happening during the day's testimony. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, guys, that was another Diddy update, man. That was P. Diddy defense makes bombshell move in trafficking trial. I think if Diddy decides to testify, this would throw a monkey wrench in everything. You know what I'm saying? But like they said, like he has the right to do so if he do decide to testify. They can't stop him. But I think it'll go crazy if you do that. But I think this trial has went by so fast. Like they said, this Thursday is supposed to be the closing remarks, and then they will be coming to a judgment a few days after that. But even she said she don't know how strong the RICO case is, so we're gonna have to see how they handle this. This is very interesting. You let me know in the comments, do you think he's gonna get on the stand at the last minute and try to save himself? Y'all let me know in the comments. But if you made it this far, you a real one for real, man. Hey, so till next time, self-love and positivity. Fire Squad, I got you and you know it.